The Arecibo telescope's illustrious scientific career is now at an end. Arecibo's radio telescope, which is an iconic instrument used in astronomy, is now lost as a result of damage. Based on information coming from the National Science Foundation, which will decommission Arecibo's observatory's massive radio dish after it was damaged. They have said that the facility has now become too dangerous to repair. The announcement came as scientists awaited a verdict about the fate of the iconic observatory after it was damaged. Damage was done to the complex cabling support of a 900-ton science platform, which is suspended over the dish. In August 2020, a cable slipped out of its socket, but engineers had evaluated the situation and suggested that it has remained stable. Earlier in November, however, a second cable unexpectedly snapped, leaving Arecibo's fate much more perilous. After considering 3 separate engineering reports, the agency which owns the property has made the decision that the facility is unstable and that there is no way to repair the damage that does not put personnel at undue and unnecessary risk. Their goal has been to find a way to preserve the telescope without placing anyone's safety at risk. However, after receiving and reviewing the engineering assessments and analyses, they have found no path forward that would allow them to do this in a safe manner. And they now know that a delay in decision-making leaves the entire facility at risk of an uncontrolled collapse, unnecessarily jeopardizing people's lives and also jeopardizing the additional facilities. The telescope is currently at serious risk of an unexpected, uncontrolled collapse. According to the engineering assessments made on the telescope, even attempts of stabilization or testing the cables may result in accelerating the catastrophic failure. Engineers cannot tell the organization the safety margin of the structure, but they have advised the NSF that the structure will collapse in the near future on its own. Although the organization is the agency that is most closely tied to the facility, NASA currently provides about 1/3 of the observatory's operating costs to fund planetary radar observations, specifically in relation to near-Earth asteroids. Whilst NASA has not directly involved itself in the investigation of what led to the observatory's damage in August, the organization has communicated with its stakeholders, including NASA, as their investigation proceeded. Representatives of NASA have issued a statement that they respect the National Science Foundation's decision to put the safety of those who work, visit, and study at the historic observatory above all else. Officials have emphasized that the decision was based on prioritizing safety, not a reflection of the scientific work that Arecibo has done over the past decades, or could they continue to do so in the future, and that some hoped-for science will be lost with the facility. This decision has nothing to do with the scientific merits of the Arecibo Observatory. That is not a consideration. It's all about safety. It was further added that the agency will work with the scientists who had been planning to use the Arecibo telescope and its other facilities in order to relocate those planned research projects wherever possible. However, the facility is quite unique, specifically in its radar capabilities, which was heavily used to study near-Earth asteroids and other solar system objects. Some of the Arecibo science will transfer, some of it will stay. Officials have also stated that if they could manage to decommission the telescope in a controlled manner, they will. The other assets at Arecibo Observatory, specifically the Visitor Center, an atmospheric science instrument on site, and a second atmospheric tool on the neighboring island of Culebra, will survive. Both of the failed cables on Arecibo were connected to the same support tower. An engineering analysis completed after the second cable failed in November discovered that if one or more cable on that tower, dubbed Tower 4, failed, the platform may collapse into the dish and likely cause the towers to topple. And because the cable support system is already so fragile, the engineers did not see any way possible to safely evaluate the situation in more detail, much less stabilize the system. What their challenge is that the structure for which they don't understand the safety margins of, the engineering approaches to better understand the safety margins involve considerable risk, and the engineering approach to repair the structure appears to be highly unsafe. This means that the situation is volatile enough that the NSF can't guarantee the telescope will be decommissioned in a controlled manner. They have also mentioned that they will be hiring engineers to develop a plan for a controlled decommissioning of Arecibo. They will create that plan and gather the necessary approvals for it, and this may take multiple weeks. The officials also declined to provide an idea of what that strategy may look like, although they mentioned that the potential for helicopters or other instant measures have been considered. In conjunction with the information coming from the NSF, they provided an engineering report from the firm leading the analysis of Arecibo telescope after the second failure, which offers little more detail about the facility's current state and future. They believe that the structure will collapse in the near future if left untouched. Controlled demolition designed with a specific collapse sequence determines that if implemented with the use of these end items, it will reduce the uncertainty and danger associated with the collapse of the Arecibo telescope. The severity of the situation stems from both the fact that 2 cables have already failed and the way 3 separate engineering consultants were caught off guard by the second failure. The 3 expert companies that they brought in did not provide any input or any inclination that there was an issue. It is, I think, just truly unfortunate that this main cable failed because we had a chance to get things stabilized. They have also stated that their focus is to safely decommission Arecibo by decommissioning the radio dish and protecting as much of the other facilities on site as is possible. But they did emphasize that they are not decommissioning Arecibo Observatory as a whole, that they recognize the facility's importance in Puerto Rico, and that in the long term, they want to ensure that the future of the site and the science that it has fostered for decades is secure. They are in discussions in regards to the decommissioning of the structure made of steel and cables, but it is truly up to the people on that to give their ideas. It's the idea of discovery that led to the construction of the Arecibo telescope in the beginning. It's the passion of the people that work at the observatory to continue to explore, to learn, and that is the true heart and soul of the Arecibo. It is not the telescope that's the heart and soul. It's the people that work with the telescope. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.